Beloved chosen one, there was a night when heaven seemed to grow quiet. The voices that once guided you, the signs that once confirmed your path, faded into silence. You prayed and heard nothing. You cried and felt no answer. The light that once surrounded you dimmed, and for a moment, you thought God had left you. But listen carefully, heaven never abandoned you. The silence was not absence, it was examination. You see, every chosen one faces the night when heaven goes silent. It is the divine classroom where faith is tested not by what you hear, but by what you remember. You were not being punished. You were being proven. The silence was the sound of God trusting you with maturity. It was the sound of heaven watching to see if you would still believe when the music stopped, when the blessings paused, when the favor seemed delayed. The hardest test is not when storms rage around you, it's when there is nothing but stillness. When your prayers bounce off the ceiling, when your heart feels hollow, and yet you whisper, "I still believe." That whisper was not lost in the void. It was the key that unlocked your next season. Beloved, the test you faced was designed to expose what cannot be shaken. Others gave up when heaven grew quiet, but you stayed. Others complained, but you worshiped. You may not have realized it, but that was the exact moment you passed the test. The moment you refused to curse the silence. The moment you kept your lamp burning when everyone else's went out. Listen, God's silence was never rejection. It was revelation, waiting to mature. The teacher is always silent during the test. And when you felt most abandoned, heaven was actually closest, taking of your endurance. Every tear you cried in that silence became a word written in your heavenly record, faithful. There were nights you looked at the sky and wondered, "Do you still see me?" And God whispered back through the stillness, "Yes, my child, I am right here. I am watching how you walk when the path disappears." This was not punishment. It was promotion. Every chosen vessel must be refined before being revealed. You were not hidden because you were forgotten. You were hidden because you were sacred. Even diamonds are buried before they shine. The silence you endured was heaven's strategy to separate you from dependence on feelings. It was to teach you that real faith stands when emotions collapse. When everything external failed, you discovered the eternal within you. Now heaven rejoices, because you did not fail where many have fallen. You did not seek a counterfeit light when God's voice still. You waited, you stayed, you trusted. And that, beloved, is the sound of victory. Heaven saw you choosing trust over proof. Angels witnessed you walking by faith, not by sight. The silence was not the end. It was the womb of something greater. God allowed you to walk through that stillness because He was birthing a deeper sound within you. A sound of unshakable faith, the sound of divine confidence. You have learned what few ever discover. God's silence is not God's distance. It is His method of strengthening your discernment. It trains your spirit to hear His heartbeat even when His words are hidden. And now, because you did not run, you can recognize His presence in the smallest whisper. The night heaven went silent was not your defeat. It was your graduation. That test has already been graded, and your result reads, "Approved." Now, chosen one, lift your head. The silence has broken, and heaven is speaking your name again. The season of stillness gave birth to your spiritual authority. What was once confusion has become clarity. What was once pain has become proof. You passed the hardest test, the test of waiting, the test of endurance, the test of still believing when there was no evidence. That is why heaven calls you faithful. That is why your name is written in light, as the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 3, verse 19. "The sovereign Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He enables me to tread on the heights." There will come new nights, chosen one, but this time you will not fear them. You will stand in the stillness knowing silence is a friend, not an enemy. You will know that hidden behind quiet skies, heaven is preparing thunderous miracles for your obedience and your unwavering heart. So now, breathe deeply. The same God who was silent is about to speak again. But this time, his words will confirm what your spirit already knew. You passed. Like, share, and comment 777 below as a prophetic act. And subscribe to remain connected to the voice that calls you higher. Chosen one, when the silence faded, you found yourself standing in a place of isolation so deep that even your own reflection felt foreign. Friends withdrew, doors closed, familiar voices vanished. It was as if God himself had led you into a desert where no echo returned. Yet even there, in that furnace of loneliness, something sacred was happening. Heaven was not punishing you, it was refining you. You did not understand it at first. You thought isolation meant abandonment, but it was actually elevation disguised as separation. Every person who left, every door that shut, every silence that stretched too long was a divine pruning. God was cutting away what could not carry the weight of your next season. You were being stripped, not because you were forgotten, but because you were chosen for something greater than comfort. There is a secret truth the mature ones learn. Before God crowns a person, he isolates them. Before he sends them into the world, he draws them away from it. You became the seed buried in the soil, surrounded by darkness, but destined for growth. It was lonely, yes, but it was necessary. The seed does not complain about the dirt. It understands the burial is the beginning of resurrection. You walked through days when no one saw your effort. You poured love into people who never returned it. You helped others rise while you remained unseen. But that obscurity was divine strategy. It was training your humility, anchoring your character, and protecting your purity. God hid you from those who would have celebrated your gift but never respected your process. You were placed in the furnace of isolation so that every false identity could burn away. The expectations of others, the masks you wore to be accepted, the roles you played to be loved, God set them all aflame. It hurt, didn't it? The loss of approval. The silence of those who once praised you. Yet through that pain, something new was born, authenticity. You began to hear your true name again. The one heaven called before the world labeled you. Every chosen vessel must go through this season. It is where dependency on applause dies and intimacy with God deepens. In the crowd, you heard many voices. In isolation, you heard only one, and that one was enough. You learned to stand without validation, to walk without direction, to trust without evidence. That is how warriors are forged. Think of the prophets who walked the same path before you. Elijah alone in the wilderness, David hiding in caves. Even Jesus withdrew to solitary places to pray. Heaven's heroes are never made in comfort. They are made in solitude. When the noise fades, the Spirit speaks. When no one claps for you, God himself begins to whisper, "You are mine." During those lonely nights, you might have wondered, why must it be this hard? The truth is, only isolation can expose whether your faith depends on company or conviction. It is in the empty space where God reveals that you are never truly alone. Even in your silence, heaven sang over you. You didn't realize it, but while you felt forgotten, God was writing your next chapter. Every tear shed in secret became ink in his divine story. Every sigh became a seed. The isolation was the forge where your calling was tempered, where strength replaced dependence, and peace replaced the need for approval. The world saw you as hidden. Heaven saw you as preserved. There's a difference. Hiding is fear's reaction. Preserving is heaven's intention. God preserves what he values most. You were not left behind. You were kept aside until the right moment, the right audience, the right release. And now, looking back, you can see it. How the furnace didn't destroy you but purified you. How it burned away pride and fear, leaving behind only gold. You walked through loneliness and came out radiant. You endured silence and emerged with authority. You passed through the fire and discovered that the flame never consumes what is anointed. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Those words were not written for comfort. They were written for warriors in isolation. They are a reminder that your story is intentional, your separation is strategic, and your season of silence is leading to a season of glory. You are not meant to fit in because you were chosen to stand out. You were not meant to follow the crowd because you are destined to lead the remnant. So, chosen one, lift your gaze from the ashes of loneliness and see what heaven has done. The furnace you feared became your sanctuary. The silence you hated became your language. The isolation you resisted became your graduation. You were never alone in that place. Every moment you thought was empty was full of divine presence. The furnace did not break you. It baptized you in fire so that you could carry light wherever you go. Chosen one, do you remember the moment when it seemed the enemy had finally won? When everything you built crumbled in your hands? When betrayal came not from strangers but from those you trusted most? That moment was not the end. It was the battlefield where your unseen victory began. Hell celebrated too early. Darkness danced over what looked like your defeat, not realizing that resurrection always comes disguised as death. The enemy saw your pain and thought it had silenced your purpose. He saw your tears and thought they meant surrender. But what the enemy never understood is that your tears were watering the very seed of your comeback. You didn't know it then, but heaven was allowing the battle to unfold to reveal your true strength. The enemy's attacks only confirmed your anointing. He does not fight what does not threaten him. The fact that you faced such intensity means you carry a light powerful enough to disrupt entire realms of darkness. The night the enemy thought he won was the night heaven began to prepare your vindication. Every false accusation, every loss, every painful goodbye was heaven's raw material for your testimony. You stood in the ashes, but something inside you refused to die. That something was the Spirit of God reminding you. You were chosen for this. The power you carry was not learned in peace. It was forged in warfare. The anointing on your life grew through conflict, not comfort. That's why you can stand now, stronger and wiser, with eyes that see through deception and a heart that no longer bows to fear. The enemy wounded you, but even your scars became weapons. Every chosen one must face the battlefield of perception. The enemy tries to make you believe you've lost when you're actually being positioned. He whispers lies that sound like truth, hoping you'll agree with defeat. But you didn't. You refused to call failure what God called foundation. You refused to let the darkness define your destiny. That is why you are still here. You walked through fire and came out shining. You stood when others fell. You forgave when you had every reason to harden. You spoke peace when bitterness wanted your tongue. And because of that, heaven calls you unstoppable. The victory didn't come when everything got better. It came when you chose to keep standing while everything was still broken. You passed the hardest test, trusting God when the outcome looked like loss. You saw defeat, but God saw development. You saw endings, but God saw beginnings. Heaven was watching as the enemy celebrated, waiting for your next move. And when you lifted your hands and said, "Even now, I trust you," the sound of hell's laughter turned into panic, because at that moment, the power shifted. The battlefield that once felt like your burial ground became holy ground. The ancient words recorded in Romans, chapter 8, verse 31 declare, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" Those words echo through your story, chosen one. Every force that tried to bury you forgot that you are rooted in divine soil. You cannot be destroyed because your foundation is eternal. The battle only revealed what was always true. You are protected, you are anointed, you are victorious. Now you see clearly. Every trap the enemy set became a stage for your testimony. Every lie spoken against you only positioned you for divine vindication. Every closed door redirected you toward your true assignment. Nothing was wasted. Every bruise, every tear, every sleepless night carried purpose. So don't despise the battlefield. That was the place where your authority was born. That was where your prayer life became a weapon, where your faith became fire and your trust became your sword. You fought battles no one saw, and yet here you stand, still chosen, still breathing, still destined for greatness. The enemy thought he could break your spirit, but all he did was reveal it. He thought he could silence you, but your voice has only grown stronger. He thought you'd never rise again, but heaven had already written your resurrection into its plan. Now, let the world see what God can do with someone who refused to quit. You are living proof that no weapon formed against you shall prosper, that every attack only refines what cannot be destroyed. The war you faced was not to end you, but to announce you. And now, as a declaration of faith and defiance, write this in the comments below. I rise again. Say it not as a wish, but as a prophecy. Type it as a declaration that what was meant to destroy you has become your divine launching pad. Let it echo through the atmosphere that you are not defeated. You are resurrected. You are the proof that light always wins. Chosen one, there came a moment when everything inside you shattered. It wasn't just your circumstances. It was your sense of self, your belief in who you were, your certainty about what God was doing. The breaking was violent, unpredictable, and terrifying. Yet now, as you look back, you can see that it was holy. The breaking wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to awaken you. Every great calling comes with a breaking. It's the moment when God reaches into your life and tears away the layers you built to protect your wounds. You prayed for strength, and He gave you breaking. You asked for purpose, and He gave you pressure. You wanted to be used, and He took you through pain. Heaven never wastes a breaking, for in the cracks, light begins to shine. You didn't realize it then, but the breaking was mercy in disguise. It stripped away your illusions of control, forcing you to surrender the pieces of your identity that were never truly yours. When your plans fell apart, divine plans began to unfold. When your heart broke, heaven created new space for grace. The old version of you had to die for the chosen version of you to rise. The pain was sacred, even when it felt senseless. It removed the noise that distracted you from the voice of God. It purified your motives, aligning them with heaven's intentions. You may not have understood why you had to lose so much, but now you understand that not all loss is tragedy. Some losses are surgery. God was cutting away the things that would have poisoned your promise. In the breaking, your prayers changed. You stopped asking for escape and started asking for endurance. You stopped pleading for explanation and started seeking revelation. You realized that peace is not found in the absence of pain, but in the presence of purpose. That shift marked the awakening. Heaven always allows the breaking before the building. The vessel must be empty before it can overflow. The ground must be plowed before it can bear fruit. You were being remade from the inside out, and though you didn't feel it, heaven was applauding your surrender. Angels were whispering your name, not because you were strong, but because you finally let go. The truth is, the breaking was never random. It was scheduled. Before you were born, God saw the exact moment your heart would fracture. And he also saw the glory that would come from those fragments. Every piece that fell became a mirror reflecting his light. Every tear watered something eternal. You might have thought, why does this hurt so much if I'm chosen? But being chosen doesn't mean being spared from breaking. It means being trusted with it. God allows his strongest vessels to break the hardest because they will not crumble, they will transform. You were chosen not just to survive it, but to carry healing to others who are still in it. There is a divine beauty in brokenness. It's where compassion is born, where empathy is sharpened, where humility finds its home. You can now touch the pain of others because you've touched it yourself. Your words carry weight because they come from wounds that have healed. Your strength is authentic because it was forged in fire. The breaking that awakened you didn't end your story. It rewrote it. You became aware of the divine fingerprints on your suffering. You began to see that God was not absent in the pain. He was present in every shattered moment, shaping something magnificent. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Those ancient words are not simply comfort, they are confirmation. They testify that even in the breaking, you were never abandoned. God was holding the pieces, shaping them into a masterpiece. The breaking was not evidence of failure, but evidence of divine craftsmanship. Now you carry wisdom that can't be learned in books or sermons. You know what it means to be undone by grace, to fall apart so that you can finally fall into alignment. You no longer chase what you once did because the breaking changed your appetite. What you desire now is not recognition but revelation, not comfort but closeness. Look at yourself now, different eyes, diaper soul, quieter strength. The same hands that once trembled in confusion now carry healing. The same heart that once shattered now beats with divine rhythm. You are not the same person who entered the fire. You emerged purified, resurrected, and radiant. So do not despise your breaking, chosen one. Celebrate it. Because through it, God revealed your truest form. Through it, you discovered that even when everything else falls apart, the divine within you remains unbroken. Chosen one, you have come so far that even the heavens whisper your endurance with reverence. What you have endured would have broken many, yet here you stand, breathing, believing, becoming. You faced not one test, but the test within the test, the invisible one that hides beneath every hardship. The surface test was pain, but the deeper test was patience. The outer storm tried to shake you, but the inner question tried to trick you. Will you still trust when nothing makes sense? That was the hardest one. Because while others saw your struggle, only God saw your restraint. Only heaven knows how many times you wanted to scream, to fight back, to quit, and yet you didn't. You chose obedience over impulse, humility over reaction. That was the victory unseen by men but celebrated by angels. The test within the test is subtle. It's not about the fire. It's about what you say in the fire. It's about whether you let bitterness bloom or allow faith to speak. It's about whether you hold your peace while everything around you demands rage. The enemy hoped you'd curse the process, but you kept your spirit pure. You passed what many fail, the secret test of trust. You see, the visible battle ends when you overcome, but the invisible battle ends when you surrender. You learned that true strength is not found in control but in calm. And though you felt weak, you were demonstrating the highest form of power. The ability to stay soft in a world that hardened others, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old, Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. That verse has always been the anthem of those who pass the inner test. Because the test within the test isn't about whether God can be trusted. It's about whether you can keep trusting Him when His ways seem hidden. And you did. That's why this moment is holy. Heaven has recorded your faithfulness. Think of yourself as a pot of clay in the potter's hands. Each spin, each press, each reshaping felt unbearable. But He wasn't breaking you. He was forming you for divine display. Every delay was a divine pause. Every setback was a sacred adjustment. You were never discarded. You were being designed. Now look at yourself through the eyes of heaven. The potter lifts you from the wheel and sets you where others can see what grace can create. You are evidence that surrender is never wasted. The cracks that remain in your surface are not flaws. They are proof that light can enter. And just as rivers carve canyons, time and pain have carved wisdom into your soul. The things you once feared have become the rivers through which compassion flows. You can now look at another weary soul and say, I understand. I've been there. I know how it feels when heaven seems silent, when isolation burns, when everything crumbles. Your life has become a lamp for others walking through their own test within the test. Each scar on your heart is now a torch lighting someone else's path. You didn't realize it, but while you were being tested, you were also being entrusted with stories, with empathy, with healing. And this is where your divine calling begins to bloom. What you carry now is not just testimony, it's ministry. It's not just memory, it's medicine. The very thing that once broke you now becomes the seed of blessing for others. Beloved, if this message finds you and you feel its truth, pause for a moment. Let gratitude wash over you like rain. You are not reading by accident. You are being reminded by heaven that your obedience mattered. If you feel led, share this light. Press like not as a gesture, but as a witness. An echo that says, I understand this kind of pain, and I'm still standing. Share this word with someone who may be silently taking their own test within the test. You never know whose heart may be revived because of your obedience. And if this voice has been a source of strength for you, consider planting a seed, supporting its ministry through your giving, through your kindness, through your presence. Donations are not transactions. They are offerings of gratitude, reminders to heaven that you value the light that once found you in the dark. Subscribe to remain part of this unfolding journey, not just as a listener, but as a living flame among other chosen ones. Every subscription is like adding oil to the collective lamp of faith that keeps shining through this world's night. Remember this truth. The test within the test does not end when the storm passes. It ends when your heart chooses peace. You have done that. You are proof that faith can bloom in fire, that grace can live even in ashes. You have passed not just a momentary challenge, but a divine examination of the soul. And because you stayed faithful when no one watched, heaven now prepares to reward you in ways no one can miss. The potter's hands are lifting you now, still glistening with the water of grace, still shining with the reflection of divine patience. You, chosen one, are the masterpiece born from the hardest test of all, and you passed the right way. Chosen one, there was a night, not long ago, when your strength was almost gone. You stood at the edge of surrender, staring into the abyss of exhaustion, wondering if the next breath was worth taking. You told yourself you'd done all you could, that maybe it was time to stop fighting. Heaven held its breath as you whispered, I can't anymore. But the moment you thought you were breaking beyond repair was the moment heaven leaned in closer. Every chosen vessel reaches that point, the breaking point where faith feels fragile and hope feels far. It is the place where even your prayers come out as sighs. The angels do not despise that sound. They collect it. They take those sighs and lift them before God, as holy incense. What you thought was weakness was actually worship. Your endurance was not measured by how loud you could praise, but by how quietly you still believed. Heaven was watching when you sat in silence, tears staining your pillow. God saw it. Not one drop fell unnoticed. Every tear became a testimony that your spirit refused to give up even when your body wanted to. The divine test wasn't about strength. It was about surrender. Would you keep trusting when nothing changed? Would you keep walking when your feet bled? Chosen one, the fact that you're still here means you passed. You chose to stay. You didn't give up on your calling even when it looked like your calling gave up on you. You whispered, "Lord, even if I don't understand, I'll still follow." That whisper reached heaven louder than any shout of victory. You see, heaven doesn't measure faith by results. It measures it by resilience. And your resilience moved heaven. You were standing on the battlefield of despair, but your worship was still rising like smoke from an altar. The enemy thought that if he couldn't destroy you physically, he could destroy you emotionally. He was wrong. What he underestimated was your covenant with God. You have walked through nights so heavy that time itself seemed to pause. But the reason you survived was because your purpose refused to die. There's something eternal inside you that pain cannot touch. You have been burned, yes, but never consumed. The same fire that tried to destroy you only purified your resolve. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 34, verse 18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Those words were not written for saints who never cry. They were written for warriors like you, who fight battles no one sees. The brokenhearted are not forgotten. They are carried. The crushed in spirit are not discarded. They are anointed. Your breaking became a vessel through which God's compassion flows. Now heaven moves again in your favor. The storm has lost its grip. What once pressed you down will soon elevate you. Because you didn't quit, the next chapter of your life will carry double the glory of the last one. The same silence that once tested you will now echo with songs of restoration. Remember this, chosen one. Strength is not the absence of struggle. It's the refusal to let struggle define you. Your endurance has rewritten your destiny. What tried to destroy your heart only refined your hearing. Now you can discern heaven's whispers in ways you never could before. There is coming a moment soon when you'll realize why God made you wait, why He let certain things fall apart, why He didn't intervene when you begged Him to. You will see that the delay wasn't denial. It was design. The waiting wasn't punishment. It was preparation. And when that moment comes, your tears will turn to laughter, your weakness will turn to worship, and your story will ignite others who are standing where you once stood. Your pain will become their prophecy. But before heaven releases the next chapter, it asks for one thing: acknowledgement. Not because God needs it, but because your declaration seals your faith. Right now in the comments below, write 9999. Do it not as superstition, but as prophecy, as a sign that you are still standing, still believing, still chosen. Each number is like a hammer striking against the chains that once held you. It tells heaven, I am ready for what's next. You have faced the edge of surrender and found strength on the other side. You have stood in silence and discovered God's whisper. You have endured pain and found purpose. And now, because you did not quit, the next dawn belongs to you. You have not merely survived, you have been transformed. The ashes of your exhaustion have become the oil of anointing. The same hands that once trembled are now lifted in quiet victory. You, chosen one, have walked through the valley of despair and found the voice of destiny waiting for you on the other side. Chosen one, There is something sacred about the way you walk through your fire. You didn't run from it. You didn't curse it. You faced it. The flames licked at your faith, the heat pressed against your resolve, but you stayed in the center of it. Silent, steady, surrendered. Others might have fled, but you remained because somewhere deep inside, you understood that God was in the fire with you. The world saw your pain, but heaven saw your purity. You didn't allow the bitterness of the flames to harden your heart. You chose to walk through with grace, to carry peace even when it burned. That is how true refinement happens, not by escaping the fire, but by enduring it rightly. Every step you took through that furnace became a declaration of faith. Every tear that fell became a sacred offering. You were not walking alone. The Spirit was beside you, whispering, "Keep going, I'm still here." You may not have felt Him every moment, but His presence was woven into every breath you took. The fire was not meant to consume you, but to reveal what could not be burned. Every chosen one must pass through this stage. The divine crucible, where faith is purified and destiny is sealed. The flames do not destroy what is eternal. They only strip away what is temporary. And so, what remained in you after the fire was truth, courage, and divine clarity. It was in that burning place that your vision changed. You stopped seeing through the eyes of fear and began to see through the eyes of purpose. You realized that the same fire that melts wax hardens gold. You were not melting, you were being forged. You learned to breathe even when the air felt heavy with smoke. You discovered the art of standing still while everything around you shifted. You didn't complain. You worshipped in whispers. You didn't retaliate. You prayed in secret. And those moments, unseen by men, were recorded in the books of heaven. You were walking through the same kind of testing that the prophets endured, the kind that turns ordinary souls into eternal voices. The prophet Isaiah spoke of such refinement in Isaiah chapter 48, verse 10. "See, I have refined you, though not as silver, I have tested you in the furnace of affliction." Those words are a mirror of your journey. You were refined, not destroyed. You were tested, not rejected. God didn't pull you from the fire because He knew you were strong enough to stay in it until the refining was complete. Many only see the smoke rising from your story, but heaven sees the gold being formed within you. You have learned how to walk with gentleness even when surrounded by flame, how to forgive when everything in you wanted vengeance, how to bless what once broke you. That is what walking through the fire rightly looks like. It is not the absence of pain, but the presence of purity. You are not the same person who entered the fire. The things that once frightened you no longer hold power. The opinions that once shaped you now fall away like ash. You have been transformed from within, and now when you speak, there is a weight in your words that only the fire can create. The world calls it survival, but heaven calls it sanctification. Every scar you carry is a seal of divine craftsmanship. Every memory of pain is now a reminder that you are unbreakable. You carry the scent of the fire, yes, but not the damage of it. You emerged with light in your eyes and wisdom in your spirit. The fire taught you endurance. It taught you surrender. It taught you to stand still in faith when escape seemed easier. You walked through not because you were fearless, but because love held your hand. And that love has marked you forever. Now, when others face their own fire, you will not judge them. You will guide them. You will remind them that the same God who stood with you stands with them. You will tell them that the flames may roar, but they cannot consume what has been anointed. The furnace you walked through was not your punishment. It was your prophecy. It declared to every realm that you were chosen not to burn, but to shine. The world will see your scars and call them proof of survival, but heaven will call them proof of obedience. Chosen one, do not look back in fear or shame. The fire you endured has made you a carrier of divine resilience. You now walk with authority born of suffering, compassion born of pain, and peace born of perseverance. The world may never fully understand what it took for you to emerge from those flames, but heaven knows. The furnace you walked through rightly became your altar, your place of rebirth. You have proven faithful under pressure, and now heaven prepares to crown you with new assignments. The fire is over, but its glory remains upon you. You are the light that fire could not consume. Chosen one, there comes a moment after the storm, after the silence, after the fire, when revelation arrives like morning light. It doesn't crash through the clouds, it seeps in softly, wrapping around the edges of your understanding until everything begins to make sense. That's when you realize it. Every unanswered prayer, every detour, every delay was not denial. It was divine redirection. You see, revelation does not come to those who demand it. It comes to those who have been emptied enough to receive it. The pain, the confusion, the waiting, those were the chisels shaping your perception. While you asked for answers, God was giving you awareness. While you longed for explanations, heaven was building endurance. It was never about what you lost. It was always about what you were learning to see. There was a time when you begged God to open a specific door, and He didn't. You felt rejected. You wept. But now you look back and thank Him for the door that never opened, because behind it was disaster disguised as opportunity. There were people you pleaded for, relationships you thought were essential, dreams you thought were divine, but they were distractions. The no's of heaven were not cruelty, they were protection. Every time God said wait, He wasn't withholding, He was weaving. Every delay was a design. Every silence was strategy. Heaven sees what the human heart cannot. The traps, the timing, the territory ahead. When God blocks your path, He is not punishing you. He is preserving you. You've learned this truth now, haven't you? That sometimes God answers prayers by changing your heart instead of your circumstance. That sometimes the miracle is not getting what you asked for, but being transformed until you no longer need it. That sometimes the closed door is the very hand of God shielding you from unseen destruction. The revelation of why doesn't come with trumpets. It comes quietly as peace. You wake up one morning and realize that the pain has purpose, that the waiting wasn't wasted. The fog begins to lift, and in the stillness of your spirit, you finally see what heaven was doing all along. And in that moment, you understand. God never abandoned you. He rerouted you. What looked like rejection was redirection. What felt like loss was actually alignment. You were never off course. You were being recalibrated for something greater. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Those words are the essence of your revelation. God was fighting for you when you thought He was ignoring you. He was rearranging the battlefield while you were praying for escape. You couldn't see it because His hand was moving behind the veil, positioning people, shifting atmospheres, and closing wrong doors before they could close in on you. Every unanswered prayer was heaven's way of saying, "Trust me, I see what you don't." Every unexpected turn was a new path toward destiny. You didn't fail, you followed. You didn't miss it, you matured. And now, when you look back, you can trace His fingerprints over every fragment. You see that the job you lost made room for purpose. The relationship that ended saved your spirit from corruption. The delay that broke your heart preserved your calling. Nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. That is the revelation that changes everything. Not that life suddenly becomes easy, but that it becomes meaningful. You no longer need to understand every moment because you trust the author who writes them. You've stopped chasing clarity and started walking in confidence. The why that haunted you has become the wow that humbles you. You realize that God was answering prayers you didn't even know how to pray. You see that what once felt like divine silence was actually divine speech in a language you hadn't yet learned to hear. Every wound that confused you has now become a window through which His light shines. Every loss that grieved you has become ground for growth. And though you still don't have every answer, you no longer need them, because revelation has replaced resentment. Now you carry peace where there used to be pain. You smile not because everything is perfect, but because you know everything is purposeful. You walk lighter because you finally trust the timing. You no longer beg heaven to explain. You thank heaven for orchestrating. That is what it means to see through the eyes of revelation. It's when the broken pieces form a mosaic too beautiful to have ever been built by chance. It's when hindsight becomes holy sight. It's when you finally whisper, "Now I understand, Lord. You were there the whole time." So, chosen one, keep walking. Don't look for shortcuts or clearer roads. Trust the divine detours. God's path rarely makes sense at first, but it always makes purpose in the end. One day you'll stand in a place so radiant, so filled with light, that you'll thank heaven for every unanswered prayer that led you there. Chosen one, every crown in heaven carries a story written in fire, tears, and triumph. Yours is no different. You didn't inherit it. You forged it. The crown that rests upon your destiny was not handed down by comfort, but shaped through every battle you refused to surrender. The glory you carry is not borrowed. It was born in the dark. There were seasons when you knelt in defeat, when the weight of unanswered prayers pressed against your chest like stone. The world thought you were finished. Even your own reflection whispered doubt. But heaven saw something different, a warrior being shaped in secret. While others saw ashes, God saw gold being purified. The nights you cried yourself to sleep were the nights heaven recorded your faithfulness. Every tear became a gem on your unseen crown. Every wound became a thread woven into divine royalty. You didn't see the forming, but heaven did. Every act of kindness when you were hurting, every prayer you prayed for others while you bled, every silent yes when your flesh wanted to quit. Those moments built the foundation of your crown. Crowns are not forged in victory, they are born in suffering. The pressure you felt was not punishment, it was preparation. The pain wasn't rejection, it was refinement. You were being trained to wear what few can carry. That's why it was hard. That's why it was lonely. Because not everyone can bear the weight of divine authority. You became stronger with every loss, wiser with every betrayal, softer with every heartbreak. You learned to bow lower before God while the world told you to rise higher before men. You learned to listen instead of react, to forgive instead of fight. That humility polished your crown more than any achievement could. Now, the light that surrounds you is not arrogance. It's endurance. It's the radiance of someone who has walked through shadows and still chosen love. The world will not understand it. They will see you shining and assume it came easily. But heaven knows the cost. Heaven knows what it took to glow like this. As the apostle reminds us in his letter to James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. That is your story written in sacred ink. You stood the test. You endured the fire. You stayed when it would have been easier to flee. And now that unseen crown, the one heaven has been crafting, begins to shimmer above your life. It is not made of gold or jewels, but of obedience, compassion, and faith that refused to die. You have walked through valleys that broke others, yet you came out glowing. Each step carved strength into your soul. Each scar became silver on your spirit. The crown you now wear was not handed by man. It was breathed by God, forged in storms, and polished by perseverance until it radiated eternity itself. You have become what trials could not destroy. The crown on your spirit carries authority because it was earned through surrender. You have been entrusted with a legacy that cannot be stolen or tarnished. Even when life stripped everything else away, it could not take what was eternal. Now, when you walk, the atmosphere shifts. Darkness recognizes what you carry and trembles. You don't need to announce your anointing. It announces itself through peace, through mercy, through quiet power. The world crowns through recognition. Heaven crowns through refinement. And heaven has recognized you. This is the moment where you no longer chase validation. You radiate purpose. The crown you carry now is invisible to most, but undeniable to the spirit. It's why people feel hope when you enter a room. It's why peace follows your words. You've become a living testimony that survival is sacred, that faith can outshine pain. Chosen one, your story is a crown in motion. Every day you wake up and choose love again, another jewel is added. Every time you forgive instead of resent, another beam of light appears. You are being adorned in real time by your obedience. Now, heaven calls for one small act. A declaration that seals your gratitude and aligns your spirit with the victory already written. In the comments below, write, "I wear light." Say it as a statement, not a wish. Declare it because you now understand that your light is your crown. Your resilience is your royal robe. You don't need approval to confirm it. Heaven already has. Each word you type echoes through unseen realms, proclaiming that you have risen, refined and radiant. You are not waiting for your crown. You are wearing it. It shines through your kindness, through your endurance, through your quiet faith that keeps glowing even when life grows dim. That is your victory, your beauty, your legacy. The battle was never about destroying you. It was about revealing who you've always been. The crown didn't appear when you won. It appeared when you refused to quit. And now heaven rejoices as the once broken vessel walks crowned in unshakable light. Chosen one, heaven has written a report about you, and it is radiant. Your name has been spoken in holy halls, not because of fame, but because of faith. The record of your endurance glows like fire upon the pages of eternity. Heaven has declared, they passed the hardest test. What a testimony that is. The unseen moments, the tears, the doubts, the silent prayers became your offering, your proof of loyalty to the divine. While others saw struggle, heaven saw steadfastness. While you were wondering if you were forgotten, the angels were carrying your report to the throne, saying, "This one stayed faithful. This one kept believing." Every act of kindness you sowed in secret, every time you forgave without receiving apology, every day you rose again after being struck down, all of it was witnessed. Heaven does not record your perfection. It records your persistence. You didn't need to be flawless. You only needed to be faithful. The divine report about you reads not in ink, but in light. It glows with words like overcomer, peacemaker, carrier of hope. You are heaven's living document that love can triumph over loss. Your story is written in the language of endurance, a testimony that echoes in realms unseen. Think of yourself as a tree planted in storm soil. The winds have bent you, yes, but they also strengthened your roots. The rain has soaked you, but it also fed your depth. You've been pruned, but pruning made you fruitful. Every season you thought was working against you was actually working for you. The storm was your scribe, writing resilience into your very rings. The Apostle Paul's ancient words still breathe truth in Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. That promise has been fulfilled in your life. You did not give up, and the harvest is near. The seeds of faith you planted in tears will bloom in laughter. The work you did unseen will soon be rewarded in the open. Heaven's report of you is not finished. It's still being written in real time. And now, this message comes to remind you that your labor was never in vain. Oh, the small things you did with love, the quiet prayers, the gentle words, the unseen sacrifices were not ignored. They were weighed in eternity, and heaven found them precious. This is your moment to breathe and realize that your faith has become fruit. You are stepping into the season of visible favor, the same way a seed bursts from the soil after months underground. Nothing you endured was wasted. Nothing you offered was unseen. If these words find your spirit and stir something sacred inside you, pause for a moment. Let gratitude rise like sunlight breaking through your chest, because gratitude keeps the heart fertile for miracles. If you feel led, share this message. Press like as an act of agreement with heaven's report about your life. Let it be your amen to what God has already spoken over you. Share this light with someone who may be standing where you once stood, in the shadows, unaware that heaven is watching their faith unfold. And if this voice, this message, this space has nourished your journey, consider giving not as obligation but as offering. A gift, no matter the size, is like a drop of oil in the lamp of this light. It keeps the flame alive for others wandering in the dark. You are not paying for words. You are partnering in witness. There are souls out there waiting for the message that once found you. Your generosity becomes their turning point. Your kindness becomes their reminder that hope still speaks. And don't forget to subscribe, not for numbers, but for connection. For staying tethered to a current of divine reminders that keep your spirit steady when the world shakes. Each time you return, heaven has something more to reveal. You have become part of a living tapestry of faith, each listener a thread woven by unseen hands. Together, we form a garment of light. Each story, each struggle, each donation, each prayer strengthening the weave. You are no longer walking alone. You are walking among the faithful, among those who believe that endurance is worship and generosity is love in motion. The divine report about you is expanding even now. Heaven writes your name beside words like resilient, obedient, steadfast. It records that when tested, you stood. When weary, you still worshiped. When broken, you kept blessing. Chosen one, heaven smiles when it says your name. You are proof that obedience still matters, that faith still moves mountains, that surrender still opens gates of glory. And as long as you keep walking, more chapters will be written, each one brighter than the last. Lift your eyes. The author has not finished your story yet. The ink of eternity is still flowing, writing grace over every scar, purpose over every pause, victory over every valley. You, beloved, are heaven's headline today. They passed the hardest test and they passed the right way. Chosen one, after every test comes healing. After every fire, there is oil. You have carried so many wounds, some visible, others buried deep in silence. But heaven has not ignored a single one. Each scar you bear has become sacred territory where mercy has chosen to dwell. God did not erase your wounds. He anointed them. He turned pain into power, memory into ministry, and weakness into wisdom. There was a time when you looked at your scars and saw failure. You hid them, covered them, and tried to forget. But what you didn't realize was that God had written healing into their very fabric. Your scars are not reminders of defeat. They are reminders of deliverance. They speak of the moments when grace carried you through what strength could not. Every chosen one eventually learns that mercy doesn't always remove the evidence of pain. It redeems it. The very things that once brought you shame have now become your testimony. The The wounds that once ached in secret now shine as proof that God's compassion is real, that His love reaches even into the darkest corners. When others see brokenness, heaven sees beauty. When the world sees weakness, God sees worth. You are the living embodiment of divine paradox, the fragile made fearless, the shattered made whole. You did not come out of your trials untouched, but you came out transformed. The healing you carry now is quiet but powerful. It doesn't shout, it breathes. It whispers peace into chaos, kindness into cruelty, and forgiveness into bitterness. That's the sign of divine restoration. Not that the scars disappear, but that they no longer hurt. You can touch them now and feel gratitude instead of grief. You may wonder why God didn't heal you instantly, why the process took so long. The truth is, He was teaching you to walk with mercy. Quick healing brings relief, but slow healing brings revelation. In the waiting, you learned how to depend on His presence instead of your plan. You discovered that healing is not just God fixing you, it's God forming you. It is written in Psalm, chapter 147, verse 3. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Those ancient words are alive in you. The same God who once bound the wounds of prophets and kings has bound yours too. He wrapped them in grace until they became unrecognizable to pain. What once bled now breathes. What once burned now blesses. Healing has been unfolding in layers. At first, you didn't see it. You thought you were still broken. But each day that you woke up and chose hope, the mending continued. Each smile after sorrow stitched your heart a little stronger. Each prayer you prayed for someone else was a thread of restoration running through your own soul. Now you are a vessel that leaks light through healed cracks, and that light reaches others who are still bleeding. You don't even have to try. Your presence alone brings calm. You carry the fragrance of mercy, the kind that cannot be manufactured, only lived. You understand suffering too well to judge it in others. You've seen the pit and the palace, and you've learned that both can be holy. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering differently. You no longer replay your pain as tragedy but as testimony. The nights that once haunted you now hum hymns of deliverance. The faces that once hurt you now remind you how far you've grown. Every scar is now a scripture written on your skin, proof that God restores what the world destroys. This healing, beloved, is not for you alone. It flows through you to others. Your life has become a living balm, a gentle answer to those who ask if God still redeems. He does. He did it in you. When mercy covers your scars, they cease to define you and begin to refine you. They become reminders that you are loved not in spite of your wounds, but because of them. Your pain has prepared you to carry peace, to speak life where others see death, to bring hope where despair once ruled. So walk freely now. You no longer owe your past an explanation. The lessons remain, but the pain no longer holds ownership. The old wounds no longer dictate your story. They now decorate it. You are proof that healing is possible, that mercy wins, that grace truly does make all things new. And when you trace your fingers over those old scars, smile. They are not symbols of suffering. They are signatures of survival. They tell the world, I was broken but not abandoned. I was wounded but not wasted. I was hurt but I am healed. You are whole, not because nothing ever broke you, but because everything that did now bows to the power of mercy. Your scars are your crown, your living gospel, your divine credentials. And through them, heaven continues to whisper to the world, grace still works. Chosen one, something sacred is shifting around you. What was once delayed is now being delivered. The waiting that stretched your soul has reached its divine conclusion. You are standing in the middle of a prophetic alignment, where heaven and earth finally agree about your destiny. The very atmosphere seems to hum with unseen orchestration, as if creation itself recognizes that your time has come. This is not coincidence. This is the fulfillment of promises you once doubted would ever reach you. For months, perhaps years, you walked through doors that led nowhere, poured into places that yielded no fruit, prayed prayers that seemed to vanish into air. Yet every moment of uncertainty was part of a higher design. Every detour you cursed was a doorway God was preparing for this very hour. You may not have noticed it, but heaven has been aligning people, opportunities, and timings on your behalf. What once felt random was divine choreography. The right connections are approaching, the closed doors are swinging open, and the path that seemed blocked is clearing. The alignment is not just external, it is internal. Your spirit, once restless, now beats in rhythm with heaven's heart. You have changed. You have become the kind of vessel that can carry what you once only dreamed of. The old patterns have burned away. The old fears have lost their voice. Where anxiety once lived, peace now rules. You have learned to trust the pace of God rather than the pressure of people. That shift alone was the greatest preparation for what's coming next. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Those words echo through your life right now. You have kept the faith through battles that would have broken many. You stayed on course when detours seemed endless. Because you did not abandon the race, heaven now hands you the next baton. Grace for expansion, wisdom for elevation, and strength for greater responsibility. Every alignment begins with surrender, and that is exactly what you gave. When you let go of control, everything began to fall into divine order. What was chaotic now flows in sequence. What once resisted you now responds to you, because your heart and heaven have found agreement. You no longer chase, you attract by obedience. Prophetic alignment means that the heavens are echoing your yes. Every step you take now carries acceleration. Delays dissolve when obedience meets divine timing. The same places that rejected you will now request you. The same doors that once closed will open with favor unimaginable. This is not magic, it is maturity. It is what happens when your will and God's will become one. Do you feel it? The atmosphere around you has changed. The weight you used to carry has lifted. The fog of confusion has cleared. What once drained you now fuels you. The people entering your life in this season are not distractions. They are divine reinforcements. Heaven has assigned them to walk beside you as this new chapter unfolds. This alignment is more than opportunity. It's a shift in identity. You are no longer the one who prays for change. You are the one through whom change arrives. You are no longer begging for favor. You are walking as favor's embodiment. What you touch will prosper, because your hands have been purified by trial. Heaven has turned its face toward you again. The same silence that once tested you now sings your name. The winds of destiny have shifted direction, blowing in your favor. You can feel it, in your spirit and your peace, in the quiet assurance that this is it. You have stepped into the place of divine rightness. But there is one thing heaven asks of you in this moment, not for proof, not for payment, but for participation. If you can sense this prophetic alignment unfolding in your life, declare it in faith right now. Comment below 11:111. Type it as a seal of agreement, a numerical echo that says, I am in alignment with heaven. Each one is more than a number. It's a prophetic act. When you write it, you are affirming that you've heard the call, that your soul and destiny have met in perfect rhythm. This is your hour, chosen one. The waiting season has ended, the wandering season has closed, and the alignment has been. You are standing beneath an open heaven. Everything that was withheld is now being released. not because you demanded it, but because you became ready for it. So walk forward with reverence. Everything ahead has been prepared for your arrival. The map was always leading here, to the intersection of faith and fulfillment, to the sacred meeting place between promise and manifestation. You are not stepping into something new. You are stepping into something that has been waiting for you all along. The alignment is complete. Heaven's rhythm and your heartbeat now move as one. Chosen one, the season has shifted again. You can feel it in your spirit. The air is different, the weight lighter, the sky brighter. What once felt like endless waiting now hums with divine motion. This is the season of the double portion, the return, the replenishing, the restoration. Everything that was stolen, delayed, or broken is now being multiplied in your favor. Heaven is not merely giving back what you lost. It is giving you more than you imagined. You have reached the moment where what was meant for harm is being rewritten for your good. Every empty space is about to overflow. Every barren field is awakening. What you thought was over was only dormant, waiting for this command from heaven to rise again. The double portion is not just about material blessing. It's about restoration of identity, dignity, and joy. You are not merely recovering what was lost. You are reclaiming what was meant for you all along. There are seasons when God allows subtraction so that multiplication can be miraculous. You were reduced to be refined, emptied to be expanded, hidden to be revealed. Now, as heaven breathes over your life again, the fruits of endurance begin to appear. Doors open easily. The same fields that once refused your seed now bend toward your hands in welcome. Where you once heard no, you now hear now. The tide has turned. The scales are balancing. The season of divine exchange is here. It is written in the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 25. I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. Those words are not a metaphor. They are a mirror reflecting what heaven is doing in your life. The wasted years, the lost opportunities, the moments that seemed swallowed by pain. All of them are being redeemed. The God who counts every tear is now measuring abundance with the same precision. Your loss has become your launching ground. Every time you were reduced, your roots grew deeper. Every disappointment was divine excavation, making room for greater harvest. The soil of sorrow has been turned into fertile ground for joy. What once felt like punishment now reveals itself as preparation. You were never being diminished. You were being defined. The double portion always comes to those who did not curse the season of scarcity. You didn't. You thanked God even when your hands were empty. You worshiped when you could have withdrawn. You trusted while everything trembled. That faith was not wasted. It was multiplied. Heaven has stored every unseen act of obedience, and now the storehouse is open. This restoration will not be subtle. It will be unmistakable. People will look at you and wonder how the wilderness bloomed again. They will see peace where there was once panic, laughter where there were tears, stability where there was struggle. You will not need to explain it. Your life will speak the language of restoration fluently. The double portion manifests in two realms, the inner and the outer. Inwardly, you are regaining confidence, clarity, and joy. The heaviness that lingered for years lifts like morning mist. You breathe differently now, freer, lighter. Outwardly, favor follows you. Connections align, doors unlock, resources arrive. The flow that once felt blocked now streams effortlessly. This is not because you demanded recompense. It's because you remained faithful. The double portion is heaven's way of saying, you didn't break, you believed. It's a reward not for perfection, but for perseverance. Every yes you whispered through tears, every moment you chose patience over panic, was heaven's investment. Now the return is multiplied. Look around with eyes of faith. The same hands that once trembled in lack are now steady with provision. The same heart that once questioned if joy would ever return now beats to the rhythm of praise. The evidence of your restoration will not just be in what you receive, but in who you've become. Calm, grounded, radiant with quiet authority. You will soon look at what once wounded you and smile. You will see that the delay was not denial, but divine arrangement, ensuring that what returns is not fragile, but fortified. The blessings now coming are not fleeting. They are anchored, established, protected. You have entered a rhythm where loss no longer frightens you because you understand the principle of restoration. For everything that leaves, something greater arrives. For every tear sown, laughter blooms. You have become fluent in heaven's mathematics, where subtraction is addition in disguise, and emptiness is only the shape of what's about to be filled. Chosen one, your story is now turning golden. You are walking through fields that once lay barren, harvesting what once was only hope. The season of double portion is not approaching. It has already begun. Every step you take echoes with the sound of restoration. Every breath a testimony that God restores completely, beautifully, abundantly. So rest now, not in idleness, but in awe. The same God who allowed the storm is now commanding the calm. The same heavens that once tested your endurance now pour out reward. What was taken is returning doubled, and what was broken has become the birthplace of blessing. Chosen one, when restoration comes, elevation always follows. But before every ascent there is a warning. It is the mercy of heaven to prepare you before it promotes you. The higher you rise, the thinner the air becomes, and the fewer can walk beside you. This next chapter of elevation will demand not only strength, but discernment. Before the crown comes the caution. Not every voice that praises you will protect you, and not every opportunity that glitters will be gold. You have passed through storms, fire, and silence. You've earned wisdom that cannot be taught by comfort. Yet, even now, as you rise, the enemy studies your steps, waiting for a crack of pride or distraction to slip through. Heaven allows this, not to frighten you, but to keep you humble, grounded, and dependent on the one who brought you here. Pride is the oldest snare in existence, and it visits every soul that ascends. You must guard your heart now more than ever. Do not let success make you forget the soil you grew from. Remember the nights when no one applauded you, the prayers whispered in loneliness, the tears that became your teachers. Those moments were your foundation, and if you forget them, the platform becomes a trap. The higher you stand, the easier it is to stumble. Think of it this way. The mountain peak is breathtaking, but it's also narrow. Few can stand there long without trembling. The air is thin because only humility can breathe that high. The ones who rise and remain are those who bow even higher the farther they climb. Heaven is lifting you not to boast, but to bless, not to be seen, but to serve. This is why your heart must stay soft, your motives pure. Promotion is not proof of superiority. It is proof of stewardship. You are not being lifted above others, but entrusted with greater reach to lift them. And that requires a soul anchored in grace, not glory. The voice of wisdom speaks through Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 18. Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Those words are not a threat. They are a safeguard, a divine reminder that the light shining on you must never blind you. Remember how you survived through surrender. The same humility that sustained you in hiddenness must protect you in exposure. You were never meant to carry glory. You were meant to reflect it. And reflection requires transparency. Keep your heart clear, your intentions clean. When applause grows louder, silence your soul before God. When influence expands, bend your knees even lower. When people call your name, whisper His. Because the higher you rise, the greater the temptation to believe you arrived by your own strength. But you know better. You remember the hands that held you when no one else could. As you move into greater realms of visibility, guard your circle. Not everyone can handle the light you carry. Some will admire it, some will attempt to misuse it, and some will envy it. Walk in discernment, not suspicion. Let love be your filter, but let truth be your guard. Elevation exposes motives, yours and others, and that exposure is not betrayal, it's revelation. Heaven is not trying to isolate you again, it's securing your focus. This next level will bring both blessing and testing. You will be entrusted with influence, resources, and platforms, but also with choices that define your legacy. The enemy cannot remove your calling, but he will try to dilute it through flattery, through distraction, through subtle compromise. That is why your eyes must stay fixed on the source, not the stage. Humility is not weakness, it is armor. It deflects the arrows of ego and absorbs the shock of praise. It reminds you that crowns are not for keeping, but for casting back at his feet. The more you give him glory, the safer your elevation becomes. So do not fear this warning. Embrace it as wisdom. Heaven is not cautioning you because you are unworthy of promotion. It is because you are ready for it. God corrects those he trusts. The warning is proof that heaven has decided to expand your influence, but not at the expense of your soul. You have been refined enough to handle blessing without losing balance. You know how to lead from love, to walk with honor, to listen before speaking. Let those traits be your compass now. Elevation will magnify what already lives in you. If humility reigns, honor will follow. If gratitude governs, generosity will bloom. If pride tries to creep in, remember the valley that taught you how to pray. Chosen one, rise, but rise carefully. The wind of heaven lifts you not for display, but for divine assignment. The view will be glorious, but the responsibility will be greater. Walk softly on the mountaintop, and you will never fall from it. Chosen one, heaven has been silent again, but not in the way it once was. This silence hums with approval. It is the quiet that comes before an announcement, the sacred pause that heaven takes before revealing its choices to the world. You have been hidden long enough. The time of unveiling has come. The scrolls are being opened, and your name is being spoken in rooms you haven't entered yet. Your obedience has summoned divine remembrance. You are no longer waiting for validation from people. Heaven has already signed your release papers. The season of concealment is ending. The trumpet of revelation is sounding. This is heaven's public announcement. You are being remembered, restored, and released. Not because of your perfection, but because of your perseverance. Every sacrifice you made in secret, every unseen prayer, every act of faithfulness, heaven has gathered them like pearls, and now they shine for all to see. Imagine the dawn breaking after a long night. The horizon blushes, light spills over the edges of darkness, and suddenly everything begins to shimmer. That's you. You are the horizon. Heaven is painting with glory. Your life is becoming a sunrise for others. When heaven decides to announce someone, it doesn't need a microphone. It uses favor. It causes people to remember your name at the exact right time. It aligns opportunities like constellations and lets your light shine in directions you never thought possible. Your influence expands not because you chase it, but because you embody it. Scripture declares in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16, "Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." This verse is not just a command, it is a confirmation. Heaven is saying you are ready to. You have been through enough darkness to understand the cost of light. You now carry illumination, not imitation. What radiates from you is not noise, but presence. People won't just hear your words. They'll feel peace in them. But even as heaven lifts you into visibility, it asks something simple: shine responsibly. Let your eyes be a mirror, not a spotlight. Let those who see you be reminded of God, not distracted by you. Your success is not just achievement. It is assignment. You are a bridge for others to walk across, a lantern for others to follow. If this word finds your heart today, take a breath and recognize the sacredness of this moment. You are not scrolling by chance. You are witnessing prophecy unfold in real time. Heaven is reminding you that the same grace that carried you through the fire is now carrying you into favor. If this message resonates in your spirit, help it travel further. Press like not as routine, but as reverence, a way of saying, I hear you, Lord. I agree. Share this light with those still in their night. Let them see that dawn is possible, that destiny still calls their name. And if this space, this voice, has been a river in your desert, consider giving freely, joyfully, prayerfully. Every offering, every act of generosity is like adding a new flame to the altar that keeps this light burning. You're not donating to a platform. You're sowing into a mission to awaken those still sleeping in the dark. There are souls right now waiting for words like these. Your giving becomes their reminder that heaven still speaks. Your sharing becomes the bridge between their despair and their destiny. Together, we become a living choir. Voices harmonizing across nations, whispering, you are chosen, you are loved, you are not forgotten. And if you have not yet subscribed, stay connected. Think of it as anchoring yourself to a lighthouse, so that when the waves return, you still see the glow that guided you once. The messages you've heard are not random. They're threads of a divine conversation between you and God. Don't let the thread be cut. This moment, right now, is heaven's public announcement echoing through your life. You are remembered. The years of silence were not neglect. They were rehearsal. The waiting wasn't wasted. It was preparation. And now, as heaven speaks your name aloud, all creation responds. Things that resisted you will now recognize you. People who overlooked you will now honor you. You are stepping into visibility, not for applause, but for assignment. So shine, chosen one, not because the world demands it, but because heaven decrees it. Your light carries stories of survival, your voice carries oil of healing, and your very existence declares, God still remembers his own. And when you finish reading, take a moment to write below your testimony, your gratitude, your truth. Let the comment section become an altar of remembrance, a place where heaven and earth meet in gratitude and light. Because this is not just a message, it's an announcement. You, beloved, have been seen, approved, and released. Chosen one, there comes a moment in every divine journey when God entrusts you with battles that seem far beyond your own strength. Not as punishment, but as proof. You have entered that realm now, the realm of the overcomer. Heaven has watched you rise through storms, survive fires, and pass tests that crushed others. Now, because you have been faithful in little, you are entrusted with much. You wear the mantle of the overcomer. This mantle is not a robe of comfort. It is a cloak of calling. It rests heavily on your shoulders because it carries the weight of nations, families, and souls connected to your obedience. You were not chosen for ease. You were chosen for endurance. Your victories are not only for you. They open gates for others who will follow your footsteps. Many admire the glory, but few understand the gravity. To be an overcomer means to live beyond convenience. It means you wake up daily ready to confront not just outer challenges, but inner resistance. Fear, doubt, pride, fatigue. You have learned that the greatest battle is often within. And yet, each time the war came, you stood your ground. The mantle you now wear is invisible but undeniable. When you walk into a room, the atmosphere shifts. Not because of who you are, but because of what you carry. The oil of endurance glistens upon your spirit. You've become the living embodiment of the scripture that says in Revelation, chapter 12, verse 11, "They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death." That verse is your identity carved into eternity. You have overcome not by might or manipulation, but by surrender. You stood firm when logic failed. You chose faith when fear screamed louder. You loved when hatred was easier. Those choices didn't just shape your destiny, they reshaped your DNA. You have become a vessel that hell cannot intimidate. To wear the mantle of the overcomer is to understand that pain no longer surprises you. You expect resistance because you carry revelation. The enemy doesn't chase what isn't a threat. His pursuit has only confirmed your purpose. Each trial was a declaration of your importance in the unseen realm. This mantle does not make you invincible. It makes you unbreakable. Invincibility is illusion. Unbreakable is truth. The overcomer still bleeds, still weeps, still wrestles, but they do not quit. They may bend, but they never bow to darkness. Their strength is not their own. It flows from the throne. Think of David facing Goliath. He wasn't the largest or the loudest, but he was the most aligned. His stones were not weapons of stone, but symbols of trust. You've learned to fight like that, not with force, but with faith. You no longer swing wildly at the air. You strike with precision, guided by discernment born in suffering. This mantle also carries intercession. You feel the burdens of others as though they were your own. That compassion is not weakness, it's authority in disguise. When you weep for others, heaven moves. Your prayers shift atmospheres because they are prayed from the furnace, not from theory. You understand pain deeply enough to pray powerfully for those still in it. Carrying this mantle means you walk differently. You no longer seek battles. You assign meaning to them. Every struggle is an opportunity to reveal the nature of victory. Every hardship becomes a platform to display grace. You don't ask, "Why me?" anymore. You now ask, "What will this produce in me?" You have learned to see warfare as worship, to swing your sword with gratitude, not anger. That's why you're dangerous to darkness. You've become a contradiction the enemy cannot comprehend. A warrior who fights with peace, a soldier who conquers with love. The mantle of the overcomer also brings visibility in the spirit realm. Angels recognize it and demons respect it. It signals that you've earned authority through affliction, that your victories were not inherited but inhabited. When you speak now, your words carry the weight of wounds turned to wisdom. Heaven trusts your voice because it has heard your groans. But remember this, the mantle is not a medal, it's a mission. It does not exist to elevate you above others, but to enable you to lift them. Overcomers are not crowned for comfort, they are commissioned for compassion. Your power is in your empathy, your anointing in your awareness. So, wear your mantle with humility. Let it remind you that you survived what should have destroyed you. Not for applause, but for assignment. You are not here merely to tell others that they can overcome, but to show them how. When you walk forward from this place, every step is sacred. Every breath you take announces, "I'm still here." And that declaration shakes the unseen realm. You carry the fragrance of victory now, the subtle, unmistakable scent of one who has wrestled with despair and found destiny instead. Chosen one, this is your identity, overcomer. The storms could not drown you, the fires could not consume you, and the silence could not erase you. You have emerged refined, resilient, radiant. The mantle rests upon you now, heavy with purpose, yet light with grace. And as you move forward, heaven moves with you. Chosen one, this is the moment everything in heaven and earth has been leading toward, the unveiling of your reward. You have walked through silence, storms, and fire. You have faced loss, isolation, and testing. Yet, through it all, you remained faithful. The gates of new glory stand open before you now, shimmering with promise. This is not the end of your story. It is your coronation before heaven and earth. Every angel that watched your journey stands in reverence as your name is spoken aloud in divine joy. This one passed the hardest test, heaven proclaims. The crown you wear now is not made of gold, but of endurance, obedience, and unwavering faith. You didn't earn it by perfection. You received it by perseverance. You can feel it, can't you? The atmosphere has changed. The weight of old sorrow has lifted. The pressure that once pressed against your chest has turned into peace. This is what it feels like when heaven honors a life that refused to give up. The reward is not merely external. It begins inside, where quiet confidence replaces fear, and unshakable joy takes the throne where despair once sat. This glory is not loud. It is luminous. It glows in your calm, your smile, your stillness. You are walking proof that grace does not erase pain. It redeems it. You have become a temple rebuilt from ruins, stronger and more beautiful because of the cracks. The light within you now spills through those very fractures, illuminating everyone who crosses your path. The prophet Isaiah once declared in Isaiah chapter 60, verse 1, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." That is your prophecy fulfilled. You are no longer waiting for light to come. You are the light that has arrived. The same presence that carried you through the darkness now radiates from within you. You are both survivor and symbol, both student and torchbearer. You no longer beg for favor, you embody it. Everything you endured was for this. Every no, every delay, every tear was preparation for weightier glory. You were not walking in circles. You were circling the promise until it was ready to open. Heaven does not rush perfection. It refines it. And now, that refinement is complete. You carry a new fragrance now, the scent of divine completion. It smells like peace after rain, like dawn after a long night. Others will notice the change even if they cannot name it. They will sense a gravity, a gentleness, a grace around you that cannot be explained by human effort. That is glory. It is the presence of God resting upon a life surrendered completely. Your reward is not wealth or fame. It is weight, the weight of authority, compassion, and spiritual wisdom. The reward is to see with clarity, to love without condition, to walk unafraid. You are stepping into a realm where your words carry healing and your presence carries peace. You are becoming what you once prayed to encounter, a vessel of divine light. The new season will not be easier, but it will be fuller. You will not be spared from responsibility, but you will be strengthened for it. The same God who lifted you from the pit will now trust you with platforms. Spiritual, emotional, and practical. But this time, you will walk with balance, with awareness, with grace that cannot be shaken. Look around you now, in your spirit. See the fields ready for harvest, the faces of those waiting for the light you now carry. The reward of the faithful is not only to be crowned, but to become a crown for others. Every place your feet touch will be changed. Every conversation you speak with love will release life. You are not simply blessed, you are a blessing. The heavens rejoice not because you have arrived, but because you have become. The reward is not a destination, it is transformation. You are no longer the same soul who began this journey. You have been rewritten by grace, redefined by faith, reborn through endurance. The fire that once frightened you has become your companion. The silence that once tortured you has become your teacher. Now, stand still for a moment. Feel the wind of completion moving around you. Hear heaven whisper your new name, the one written in light. You are called faithful. You are called chosen. You are called crowned with glory. This is your coronation moment, not of vanity, but of victory. You bow before the throne, And in doing so, you rise higher than ever before. The angels lift their voices. Creation sighs with relief. The circle is complete. You have proven that love wins, that faith prevails, that obedience outlasts opposition. Walk forward, crowned not with pride, but with purpose. Your light belongs to the world now. You have been refined into a reflection of divine endurance, a living proof that God still honors the faithful, still raises the humble, still fulfills every promise spoken in the dark. Chosen one, this is your moment of reward. The gates are open. The journey continues, but from this day forward, you walk as one approved, anointed, and crowned. Chosen one, take a deep breath. You have journeyed through silence and storms, through fire and refinement, through breaking and becoming. You have stood where few can stand, and now you see from a height only grace could carry you to. This isn't just the end of a message, it's the beginning of a movement within you. Look how far you've come. From the trembling heart that once questioned, "Why me?" to the steady spirit that now whispers, "Thank you, Lord." You are living evidence that divine purpose always prevails. You didn't just survive, you were sculpted. Every tear became oil, every valley became a doorway, and every test became testimony. And now, as you read these last lines, heaven pauses again, watching, smiling, affirming. Because this message was never about words on a screen. It was about awakening something eternal in you. You have felt the stirring, haven't you? The sense that you were never ordinary, that you carry a light others are waiting to see. That feeling is not imagination, it is invitation. Heaven is saying, continue. Don't stop here. Your journey is not finished, it's unfolding. And the world needs your voice, your presence, your story. You are not called to hide your flame. You are called to share it. Somewhere out there, someone is praying for a sign, for a word, proof that they are not alone. And you might be that answer. So, if these words have touched your heart, if they've reminded you of who you truly are, let gratitude speak. Press like not for attention, but as an act of agreement with heaven. I receive what has been spoken over my life. Share this message as a seed. Let it travel beyond you. It may find someone standing at their breaking point, someone one prayer away from giving up. Your simple act could be the bridge between despair and deliverance for them. And take a moment to comment below. Write what this journey stirred in you, what you felt, what you're reclaiming. Your words become part of a collective testimony, a wall of remembrance that others will read and find strength in. When you share, you transform this space from words into worship, from message into movement. And finally, subscribe, stay connected, not for content, but for connection. Each new message is another spark in the ongoing fire of faith that binds us across time and space. Together, we are a constellation, each light distinct, yet shining toward the same heaven. Remember, you are one of God's chosen ones. Your life is not small, your story is not over, and your light, your quiet, defiant, holy light, is changing the world in ways you cannot yet see. So rise, beloved, keep shining, keep walking, keep becoming. Heaven is not finished with you. This is just the next beginning.